I was mindlessly scrolling through my phone, letting the endless stream of videos wash over me, when I stopped on a familiar format, a man on the street interview. The question of the day was simple enough. What would you say to yourself from 5 years ago? And then I saw her. It was Olivia, my wife, standing there with her young new boyfriend. Her voice, when she answered, was the same cool, measured tone I knew, but it was softened with an affection I hadn't heard directed at me in a long time. "I'd tell the Olivia from 5 years ago to meet Liam sooner," she said. The man next to her, Liam, grinned with a smug satisfaction that twisted something in my gut and added, "Me too." The comment section was a flood of adoration, people declaring them the perfect couple and sending endless well wishes. What none of them knew, what she herself had apparently forgotten, was that 5 years ago to the day was our wedding day. That knowledge sat with me, inert and heavy, until a week later. The same influencer, the one with the Time Capsule series, posted another interview. This time it was me. I was looking straight into the lens, my expression serious, and my words were deliberate. "If I could," I said, "I'd tell my past self, Ethan, don't marry Olivia, you'll regret it." This time Olivia saw the video. It was an otherwise normal afternoon when I finally decided to agree to the divorce. I dialed Olivia's number, but it was Liam who answered. "Hello?" "I'm looking for Olivia," I said. "She's in the shower. Anything you need to say, you can just tell me." His voice had that same arrogant, carefree tone as always, laced with an unmistakable undercurrent of possessiveness and pride. The old me, the me from just a few weeks ago, would have been consumed by a white-hot rage, would have screamed at him to get lost, demanding to speak to my wife. But now, I understood the reality of the situation. Liam was the gatekeeper. He was the only one who could reliably get a hold of her. I couldn't afford to have him hang up on me like he always did, leaving me to spiral into a frantic, helpless madness. "She mentioned wanting a divorce, right? I agree," I said, delivering the message with a calm I didn't know I possessed. There was a beat of silence on the other end of the line. Then, Liam's voice came back, thick with disbelief. "You agree to a divorce?" "Yeah." The moment the word left my mouth, I heard a rustling sound, the muffled exchange of the phone. Olivia's cool, detached voice came through. "It's me." "I know." Hearing her speak sent a strange wave of disorientation through me. It had been 6 months since she moved out of our house to be with Liam, and in all that time, we hadn't spoken a single word to each other. The last thing she'd ever said to me was, "Ethan, let's get a divorce. If you don't agree, I'll move out and then I'll file for it." Now, half a year later, I was the one giving in. "Liam said you want to divorce me," Olivia asked when I remained silent. I could picture her on the other end, frowning, her tone tinged with a confusion I couldn't begin to understand. Wasn't this what she wanted? Wasn't she the one who brought it up? I didn't have the energy to argue about who initiated it. I just grunted in agreement. "If you have time, let's meet up and sign the papers." Then I hung up. It was the first time in our entire relationship that I had ever hung up on her, especially since finding out she was cheating. Before, it was always me, desperately bombarding her with calls and texts. I had cursed her with the most vicious words I could conjure and begged her in a voice raw with desperation, but every time Olivia's response would be the same impatient dismissal. "Can you stop acting like a lunatic? Talk to me when you've calmed down." Then she would hang up, leaving me to my frantic, unanswered messages. I wanted to be calm, but the thought of our years together ending in such a betrayal always made me lose control. I wanted to demand why she had broken her vows. I wanted to beg her to come back, promising I would forgive everything. But all my resentment and my waiting had been for nothing. Olivia never changed. and slowly I became exactly what she had called me: insecure, paranoid, a lunatic. I drifted through that long period in a daze, trapped in the agony of a dying relationship, until 3 days ago. I saw that street interview video by the influencer. His question was always the same. What would you say to yourself from 5 years ago? One person said they'd study harder. Another wished they'd spent more time with their family. And then, in that montage of answers, I saw Olivia and her young boyfriend, Liam. That's how I knew it wasn't some staged production. Given Olivia's professional status now, even A-list writers had to book appointments weeks in advance to see her. This influencer genuinely seemed to be grabbing people at random, and he just happened to grab her. At the start of the clip, Olivia looked annoyed by the interruption. It was Liam standing beside her who seemed excited by the prospect. "This is cool, Olivia, let's do it," he said, tugging on her arm like an eager child. Olivia looked resigned, but gave in with a hint of indulgence. After a quick introduction, the influencer asked his question. Liam paused, trying to think of an answer. Seeing him struggle, Olivia jumped in first. "If I could, I'd want the Olivia from 5 years ago to have met Liam sooner." She had her arm linked with his as she spoke, and though her voice was cool, the affection she held for him was unmistakable. Liam shot her a surprised look, which quickly morphed into a smug grin. "Me too," he added. By the time I saw the video, it already had tens of thousands of likes. The comments were a waterfall of praise. "Damn, they're both gorgeous, I totally ship it." "Oh my God, they're like actual soulmates." "So sweet, I hope you two last forever." I stared at the screen, stunned. Did Olivia love him that much? Had she truly forgotten? 5 years ago, we had just gotten married. That was the peak of our relationship. We were poor, but we were deliriously happy. And now she was on camera for the world to see, saying she wished she had met him back then instead. I thought I would be furious, beside myself with the familiar rage. I expected to snatch my phone and start blowing up her line with accusations, and if she didn't pick up, I'd smash everything in the house and scream until my voice was gone. But strangely, this time, I just sat there, motionless. The comments that should have stung and provoked me scrolled past my eyes like meaningless lines of code. Then, something inside my mind felt like it was pulled loose, unraveled. To my complete surprise, I realized I felt nothing at all about what she had done. Obsession can be instantaneous, and so, apparently, can letting go. And that's what led to my phone call. Olivia sent me a message. Against a sea of red exclamation points from my previously blocked attempts to contact her, her new text stood out in its simple black and white box. "Looks like she unblocked me," I thought with a self-deprecating smirk. Olivia told me to come to her office on Monday. Her lawyer would have the agreement ready. Once we both reviewed it, we could sign and then wait for the mandatory cooling-off period to pass. On Monday, I went to Olivia's company as we had arranged. Since I didn't have an appointment, the receptionist had to call upstairs for approval. "Yes, a Mr. Evans." After hanging up, she told me to go up to the executive floor, where a secretary would meet me. I thanked her and went straight up. A young woman I didn't recognize greeted me at the elevator. She must have been a new hire. After all, I hadn't set foot in this building in the 6 months since Olivia and I had separated. "Mr. Evans, please wait here. Miss Vance is in a meeting." She didn't know who I was either. She called me Mr. Evans and led me to a generic waiting room. I used to go straight into Olivia's office to wait for her. Her meetings were notorious for lasting at least an hour. I hate waiting, and she knew that. She used to stock her private office with books and movies just for me. "You can read or watch a film. If you get tired, just wait for me in the lounge," she would tell me. The last time I had come here, All of my things in her office had been replaced. The person who could now freely enter her private lounge was someone else. Now, just to see her, I was relegated to a public reception area. But I was in no mood to argue over such a trivial thing. I waited quietly. I had plenty of time. I didn't expect to wait for 2 hours. Still, no one came to get me. "Excuse me, is Miss Vance's meeting over yet?" I couldn't help myself. I went to ask the young woman who had shown me in. She hesitated. "Miss Vance is still in the meeting." I frowned, about to say something more, when I heard laughter and chatter from down the hall. "Okay, let's go to that new restaurant for lunch." "Sounds good." The voices were unmistakably familiar. I had just heard them on the phone the other night. I saw Liam clutching a folder, walking briskly beside Olivia. The handsome young man was beaming, full of life and confidence. Olivia had her head tilted slightly, listening to him talk. He must have said something funny, because the smile on her lips deepened. The young assistant saw me walking toward them, and didn't have time to stop me. "Olivia?" Hearing my voice, they both turned to look. I clearly saw a flash of surprise and astonishment on Olivia's face. I asked her if her meeting was over. If it was, we needed to talk about our situation. "I got here at 10. I've been waiting for 2 hours." "Who told you I was in a meeting?" she asked back, frowning. I was taken aback and looked at her. The confusion in her eyes seemed genuine. We both figured it out at the same time. I didn't say anything. Olivia's gaze swept across the office, heavy and serious. The employees all lowered their heads, not daring to speak. The young woman who had led me to the waiting room shrank back, her head bowed. But just before she did, she shot a quick, nervous glance at Liam. Of course. The only person in this office who could pull a stunt like that, throwing their weight around, was Liam. "I forgot to tell everyone the meeting was cancelled. It wasn't on purpose. I'm sorry, Miss Vance," Liam said, biting his lip and looking up at Olivia with an innocent expression. She had always been lenient with him, so this time too, she just let it go with a single sentence. "Come in." She looked at me, brushing the incident aside. As I walked past Liam, I saw the pride and defiance glittering in his eyes. "Sit," Olivia said, gesturing to a chair as if I were just any other guest. She looked at me with an unreadable expression. I felt uncomfortable and looked away. "Where's the agreement?" Olivia pushed the divorce papers across her desk toward me. As I read through them, her eyes never left my face. "We've been together for so many years. I won't be cheap. You can have the car or the house, take your pick. If you have any other requests, you can make them now." Was this supposed to be compensation? The thought flickered through my mind, but didn't slow me down. The settlement Olivia offered was more money than I could spend in several lifetimes. She had always been generous, never stingy about material things. "This is fine, but I'll take the house I'm living in now," I said. I quickly picked up a pen, signed the document, and handed it to her. Olivia seemed to have more to say. I saw her lips part, then close again as I moved. She stared at the papers I was holding out, as if she couldn't believe the entire transaction had taken less than 5 minutes. I stood up. "There's a 1-month waiting period. I'll contact you in a month." I turned to leave. "Ethan, is there something else?" "Don't you have anything you want to say to me?" Olivia asked, her brow furrowed slightly. Her eyes were filled with disbelief, her tone a probing question. I looked at her, confused, but saw that she was serious. I thought for a moment, then asked in earnest, "At this point, you don't actually expect me to wish you and Liam a lifetime of happiness, do you?" I may have let go, but I wasn't that magnanimous. The woman in front of me was speechless. Olivia's gaze was like a deep, dark pool, her emotions unreadable. Just as my hand touched the doorknob, I heard her voice again. "Ethan, in the end, I'm the one who wronged you. I'll continue to cover your mother's medical expenses." At the mention of my mom, I froze. If there was one person in the world who didn't want Olivia and me to divorce, it was my mom. Olivia and I started out together when we were 17. In the hardest of times, we would split a single box of takeout, and she would always meticulously pick out all the meat and put it in my share. In the dead of winter, she'd take on delivery gigs on a frozen scooter just to save up a little extra money. She never spent any of it on herself, but she once used it to buy me a simple ring. "It's just a simple band," she'd said, "but one day I'll trade it for a diamond-studded watch for you." We once lived together in a tiny basement apartment that was only a few dozen square feet. There was no heat in the winter, so we just held each other tight to stay warm. In the summer, it was so hot that Olivia would drag me out to sleep on a bench in the park. My mom saw all of it. She felt for me, and for Olivia, and eventually sold everything she owned to help Olivia start her business. When Olivia earned her first real money, she bought a huge downtown condo with 24/7 climate control. In front of my mom, she swore she would treat me well for the rest of her life. My mom was moved to tears, and all she said was, "You two have to be good to each other." I, too, was once full of hope, believing we had a bright, unending future ahead of us. But in just 2 or 3 short years, everything had changed. Olivia cheated, my mom got cancer, her treatment cost tens of thousands of dollars a year. If it weren't for Olivia's financial support, I would have lost her long ago. But now, "You don't have to worry about it anymore." "Thanks," I said, ending the meeting with a polite, distant tone, and walked out the door. As I left Olivia's office building, I heard Liam's voice behind me. "Mr. Evans." He walked up to me, making a show of adjusting his tie. "Thank you for letting us be together, for letting Olivia go." I saw the bright, triumphant smile on his face and in his eyes. He looked like a victor gloating over his spoils. "Don't mention it. I just hope you don't end up like me," I said with a faint smile, a small warning from someone who's been there. The smile on Liam's face faltered for a second, but quickly returned. "How could I end up like you? You've seen how Olivia feels about me, haven't you?" This was clearly one of the victories Liam used to taunt me, and he was obviously very pleased with it. His smile deepened. I looked at him and didn't forget to add, "Then I guess you've forgotten what I did that day? If you can't remember, I don't mind helping you relive it." The color drained from Liam's face. I knew he hadn't forgotten. That night I had stormed into a private room in a blind rage, dragged Liam out of Olivia's arms, and before anyone could react, slapped him twice, hard. Then I grabbed him and slammed him down onto the coffee table, which was covered in drinks. Is this funny? My fury boiling over, I smashed a wine bottle. Amid the shattering glass, Liam screamed in terror. I held the jagged edge just above his cheek, letting him tremble and shake with fear. No one in the room dared to breathe. In the end, it was Olivia who stopped me. She rushed forward, put herself between us, and pushed me aside. "Liam!" His face pale, hid behind her, looking weak and innocent. "Olivia, save me!" Rage flared in Olivia's eyes. She raised her hand to strike me, but it froze when she saw the raw hatred in my bloodshot eyes. "Olivia, you don't have the guts to hit me, do you?" I did. In the split second she hesitated, I swung my hand and slapped her across the face. I used nearly all my strength. Afterward, my hand wouldn't stop shaking. That was the beginning of the end for us. After that day, Olivia asked for a divorce, moved out of our home, and moved in with Liam. Liam didn't dare provoke me. He knew I was truly unhinged when pushed too far. He shot me a resentful glare. "Let's see how arrogant you are after Olivia divorces you." "That's none of your business," I shot back, then turned and walked away. Back home, I started packing. Even though I was keeping the house, I had no intention of staying long. Thinking back on the years Olivia and I spent torturing each other, I had been so lost in it all. Now everything in this house just made me feel how broken things had become. I listed the house for sale as quickly as possible and started looking at flights. Olivia had given me so much money, I figured I should spend it. I decided to travel for a while and come back when it was time to finalize the divorce. The day before I left, I received a new message. "Hi, Mr. Evans. This is the creator from Time Capsule. Your interview clip is scheduled to go live this Sunday at 7 p.m. I just wanted to confirm one last time. Are you sure you're okay with this?" I wasn't surprised to see the message. You might not believe this, but the day after I saw the video of Olivia and Liam, I was wandering aimlessly down the street when I, too, was stopped for a random interview. Same influencer, same question. At the time, I thought it was hilarious. A strange, unbelievable twist of fate. I didn't refuse the interview. In fact, as I gave my answer, I couldn't help but wonder, if Olivia saw this video, how would she react? "No problem, post it whenever," I replied. At the same time, I packed my last bag and walked out, free. After 6 months of separation, it was the first time Olivia had received a call from Ethan. She assumed he was calling to harass and curse at her again. But to her surprise, Ethan had abandoned his usual belligerent behavior. His tone was remarkably calm. "Olivia, I agree to the divorce," he told her. Olivia frowned instinctively, her first thought being, what divorce? Seeing her confusion, Liam, who was beside her, whispered a reminder. Only then did Olivia remember what she had said to Ethan when she moved out 6 months ago. "Are you sure?" "Yeah. If you have time, let's meet up and sign the papers." Ethan hung up right after he said it. Her doubts deepened, but before she could figure it out, Liam wrapped his arms around her neck. "Did your husband just say he agreed to a divorce? Is that true? That's great. Now no one will be bothering you anymore." Liam was even happier than she was, excitedly leaning into her. Before, the passionate young man would have easily aroused her. But now, Olivia couldn't feel any joy. She had never actually wanted to divorce Ethan. She had just said it to scare him. Why had he suddenly given in? Olivia couldn't figure it out. But then a thought occurred to her. Could this be another one of Ethan's schemes? He was like that. He'd say anything to trick her into coming back. Once, he even sent her a message saying his mother was critically ill. She had ignored it. The boy who cried wolf doesn't get a third chance. Convinced Ethan was trying to trick her, Olivia decided to play along. Besides, she hadn't seen him in 6 months. Since he had called, she could use this as an excuse to go see him. Olivia had her lawyer draw up the divorce papers and texted Ethan to come to her office on Monday to sign. One small thing happened during this. When she went to message him, she realized she had blocked him. Their chat history was stuck in a conversation from months ago. Ethan had caught her with Liam, and she couldn't even remember what they were doing. All she remembered was Ethan going berserk, screaming and shouting at home. She couldn't take it anymore and moved out. But Ethan hadn't given up, harassing her daily with texts and long, rambling messages. He was acting like a total psycho. One day he messaged her again. She got halfway through his sentence before blocking him out of sheer annoyance. After unblocking him, Olivia was worried he would start his old antics again. But this time, he just replied with a simple, "Okay." Strange. Had he really changed? With Ethan acting this way twice in a row, Olivia found it incredible, but also a little poignant. Sigh. If only Ethan could always be this quiet and calm, not yelling and fighting. She and Ethan had been through thick and thin together. They had built everything they had from scratch. Their bond was naturally extraordinary, but Ethan was just too selfish, too possessive. Ever since their business took off, it was like he was possessed, forbidding any other man from getting near her. Was that even possible? She was a prominent female entrepreneur now. Business dinners and schmoozing were unavoidable. At first, she did reject those other men, but over time she realized they were all the same. She was just seeking a little breathing room in a suffocating relationship, and she was better than most of them. She only found one. And that was Liam. It was Ethan who wouldn't let go, who pushed her further and further away, ultimately forcing her to bring up divorce. If Ethan had just turned a blind eye, they never would have reached this point. That's what Olivia thought to herself. After all, she and Ethan had more than a decade of history. Back then, they would share a single container of takeout. He'd lie and say he wasn't hungry just so she could have a little more. The basement in the summer was like a sweltering oven, so hot you couldn't sleep. Ethan fanned her all night long. Later, he secretly sold the simple ring she bought him to buy a small electric fan. She and Ethan had so many sweet, shared memories. Olivia couldn't bear to throw them away, and she was sure Ethan couldn't let go of them either. Therefore, she was certain. This request to meet about a divorce was just another one of his tactics. How could he possibly be willing to divorce her? Olivia didn't believe it. It wasn't until she saw Ethan on Monday that she realized he was serious about agreeing to the divorce. When Ethan called her name, she turned, and her first thought was, "It's only been 6 months. How did he get so thin?" Ethan's face, which used to be a little rounded, now had a sharp, defined jawline. The collarbones visible at his neck made him look frail. Hasn't he been eating properly? Olivia frowned with worry, a pang of heartache rising involuntarily. But before she could ask, Ethan said he had been waiting 2 hours for her meeting to end. She hadn't been in a meeting, but she knew who would have told him that. Her first thought wasn't to blame Liam, but to get a good look at Ethan. She hadn't seen him in 6 months. Even though he had been difficult, relentlessly wearing down their relationship, Olivia still found that he was the one she loved most. This love was different from her love for Liam. Her feelings for Liam were based on his youth, his body, the rush of hormones. But with Ethan, it was a love and ache that came from the depths of her soul. "We've been together for so many years. I won't be cheap. You can have the car or the house, take your pick. If you have any other requests, you can make them now." While Ethan was looking over the agreement, Olivia's eyes were fixed on him. She needed to really see him. She used the excuse of offering to meet other requests, secretly hoping his only other request would be to not get divorced. But to her surprise, Ethan only asked for the house they used to live in. The entire process was over in less than 5 minutes. Impossible. How could he really be divorcing me? Without any other moves, without any other drama. He must have something else to say to her. Olivia stared at him, but until the moment he left, he didn't have a single extra word for her. Was this it for them? Were they really over? Olivia couldn't believe it. She held on to the signed divorce agreement, not giving it to the lawyer. That night, Liam prepared a candlelight dinner to celebrate. She looked at his smiling face and just felt irritated and cold. "Olivia, so when are we getting married?" Liam asked, resting his chin on his hands with a grin. Before she could answer, he was already lost in daydreams about their wedding. "I'll wear the most handsome suit, and the church has to be filled with flowers." She looked at Liam's sparkling eyes in the candlelight, but all she could think about was her wedding to Ethan. Back then, they were just starting out, so poor and struggling. After Ethan sold the ring, he didn't have a single nice thing to his name. They spent a few dollars to get their marriage license. That night, they excitedly bought 2 beers and sat by the river, singing and drinking. She thought to herself then, "When I get rich, I'm going to give Ethan a huge, lavish wedding." But they never got around to it, only managing a quick photo shoot for some wedding pictures she had squeezed in during a 30-minute break from work. "We'll see," she said, suddenly losing all interest and cutting Liam off. Liam's expression froze, his smile slowly fading as he stared at her. Feeling agitated, Olivia called her best friend and asked her to go out for drinks. "Olivia, why didn't you bring your boy toy?" someone asked, confused. Since there was an Ethan at home, they all called Liam her boy toy. Olivia didn't want to answer. Someone sidled up next to her, grinning. "Olivia, look what I found. It's you and your boy toy. You guys are trending." Through her blurry vision, Olivia saw the phone screen with her and Liam's faces. "Me? I wish the Olivia from 5 years ago had met Liam sooner," she heard herself say in the video. What the hell was this? 5 years ago was her wedding day with Ethan. They were so in love. Why would she ever have wanted to meet Liam? Olivia quickly remembered. It was from a day she took Liam out shopping, and they ran into a street interviewer. She had just said it offhandedly. But the video already had over 100,000 likes and was #1 on the local trending list. If that was the case, wouldn't Ethan see it? No, she couldn't let him see it. He would be so angry. Olivia's hands trembled as she reached for the phone. "Who posted this? Tell them to take it down, now!" Her shout startled everyone. The person who showed her the video fumbled to contact the creator. But when they clicked on the influencer's profile, they froze. "Olivia, he posted another one." The voice was hesitant and careful. "It's your husband. I only found out my video had gone viral after I got back from my trip. The time capsule creator messaged me, saying he never expected it to get so much attention and have such a big impact. He thanked me and asked if he could interview me again. I didn't reply. I opened my phone and saw it being shared by a clickbait account. Karma comes for cheaters. OMG, it's happening again, another viral relationship drama." The account's signature narrator voice dramatically recounted the whole story. Last Sunday at 7 p.m., the influencer Time Capsule posted his latest street interview. On a busy street, he randomly stopped a passerby. "Sir, if you had the chance to talk to yourself from 5 years ago, what would you say?" In the video, the random passerby looked directly into the camera, my voice flat. "If I had the chance, I'd tell my past self, Ethan, don't marry Olivia. You'll regret it." The video immediately sparked a massive debate online. "Olivia? Why does that name sound so familiar?" "I know, right? I feel like I've heard it somewhere." "Did you guys forget? The couple the creator interviewed last time, I think the woman was named Olivia." After a brief moment of confusion, internet sleuths smelling gossip dug up the connection between me and Olivia. Once it was confirmed that the Olivia I mentioned was the same one who wished she had met Liam 5 years earlier, the internet exploded. "Holy shit, it's the same person. This is so dramatic. WTF, I thought they were this pure love couple. Turns out it's a cheating skank and the other man. Met him sooner? Why don't you go die sooner? Did you even think about your husband when you said that?" Poor guy, he's the real victim here. Now the comments under her video were filled with attacks and insults. As for me, while it wasn't as intense, my phone was blowing up with messages and calls. Besides the people wanting a front row seat to the drama, there were also mutual friends of mine and Olivia's. I ignored them all. The only thing that surprised me was that among the flood of messages and calls, there wasn't a single one from Olivia. Strange. I had just publicly blindsided her, and she hadn't made a move. I found it unbelievable until I got a call from my real estate agent. "Mr. Evans, we've run into a problem with the sale of your house. Could you come back and handle it?" Confused, I booked a flight back. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw the agent who had called me. He looked like he'd seen a savior. "Mr. Evans, you're finally back. It's your wife. She heard you were selling the house and is refusing to let it happen." The agent quickly filled me in. I had to laugh. So that's why Olivia had been so quiet. She was waiting for me here. I'll handle it. After sending the agent away, I called Olivia. She didn't answer, so I went straight to her company. Unlike last time, the receptionist didn't even ask, just waved me upstairs. And the young assistant from before was now bowing respectfully as she escorted me to Olivia's office door. "Miss Vance is waiting for you inside." I glanced at her, but my gaze wasn't really on her. It passed over her to Liam, who was standing in a corner. He seemed to have been demoted. I remembered from my last few visits that his desk was the closest one to Olivia's office. When Liam saw me, he couldn't hide the fury and resentment in his eyes. If looks could kill, I have no doubt I'd be covered in burn holes. I ignored him and pushed the door open. The moment I saw the office layout, I felt a flicker of disorientation. All traces of Liam had been scrubbed clean. The room suddenly looked like it did in the very beginning. Olivia was sitting in the large chair behind her desk. Framed by the massive floor-to-ceiling window, her slender figure looked tired and defeated. She seemed utterly alone. Well, of course. The recent scandal had caused her company's stock to drop several points. It would be strange if she wasn't stressed, but what did that have to do with me? "If I remember correctly, you agreed to give me this house," I said, walking straight toward her and cutting to the chase. Hearing my voice, Olivia looked up, her gaze deep and intense. "Ethan, what did you mean by regret?" Her question was completely off topic and left me baffled. But I quickly understood. She was asking about what I said in the video. When the interviewer asked me what I would say to my 5-year-ago self, my answer was, "Ethan, don't marry Olivia. You'll regret it." And 5 years ago, when we got our marriage license, she had asked me with tears in her eyes, "Ethan, you've suffered so much by marrying me. Do you regret it?" My answer then was, "Never." And now, Olivia was asking me what my regret meant. "You don't understand?" I couldn't help but find it ridiculous, my voice calm but sharp. Stung by the mockery on my face, Olivia's complexion turned deathly pale. She rose from her chair and walked toward me, each step seeming to take a monumental effort. "But I never regretted it. Ethan, I never regretted marrying you. How could you regret it? You used to say you'd never regret it?" Her eyes were red, just like they were 5 years ago. But this time, I wasn't going to soften. "You said it yourself. That was the past. People change, don't they?" That was a lesson Olivia herself had taught me. Now that the boomerang had come back to hit her, why couldn't she accept it? Olivia looked at me, her eyes filled with hurt. She seemed to be searching for something in my expression. Finding nothing, she averted her trembling gaze and asked again, "Ethan, you're doing all of this because you're still angry, right? You still have feelings for me, so you're saying these things on purpose. You still love me, right?" She asked, "Right?" Twice, her eyes pleading as she watched my face for any reaction. But I remained perfectly calm. In fact, her questions just made me frown. "Love? What's that?" We were two people who had already signed divorce papers. What love could possibly be left? "Oh, I used to love Olivia." "But didn't she throw that away herself?" My eyes were filled with scorn. "I didn't, Ethan, I didn't. I love you. Saying I wanted a divorce was just something I said in anger. I never wanted to divorce you," Olivia argued loudly. She suddenly wrapped her arms around me in a tight hug, repeating it over and over. She was desperate for a response from me. After all, every hug we used to share was powerful and mutual. But ever since she got with Liam, I couldn't even remember the last time we'd hugged. Olivia got no response. She let go, only to see my whole indifferent expression. Panic set in. Her hands gripping my shoulders were trembling and slick with sweat. "Ethan, you can't divorce me. If you dare divorce me, you won't get a single penny. And your mother, I won't give the hospital another cent. She'll die. Olivia threatened me. She tried to sound fierce and cold, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her panic. I looked up, my gaze calm and cool, straight into her eyes. Olivia, you didn't know, did you? My mother passed away. During our separation, I sent you a message. You blocked me before I could even finish typing. Olivia, your threats mean nothing to me. If I cared about money, I would have never been with you when you had nothing. But I was still filled with a deep, bitter resentment. She had forgotten our love. She had forgotten how my mother treated her like her own daughter. Olivia hadn't just wronged me. She had wronged my mother. The office was dead silent. I watched as Olivia's already pale face turned ashen. The emotions in her eyes seemed to freeze over. Shock, disbelief, utter incomprehension. A complex mix of feelings swirled within them. How could that be? She whispered. I reminded her. You haven't been to see her in 2 years. Of course you wouldn't know. Poor Mom, she was still murmuring my name as she passed. And all I could do was hold back my tears and lie, telling her Olivia was busy with work and would come see her as soon as she was done. My mother's death wasn't an accident. She had simply run out of time beyond any medical help. I was the one who signed the papers to stop treatment. I held her hand and watched her slip into a peaceful sleep from which she never woke. I handled all the arrangements myself calmly. After it was all over, I happened to see that video of Olivia and Liam. The truth is, I had wanted to divorce Olivia for a long time. I couldn't stand watching myself turn into a madman trapped in a toxic relationship. My mother's death was the final straw. Oh, Olivia, how could you possibly know? From the day you made your mistake and refused to turn back, the clock had already started ticking down on us. Olivia swayed violently, stumbling back a couple of steps, nearly falling. I looked at her and didn't forget to add, if you have any conscience left, just let me go. Being with you now, every minute, every second is suffocating. I left Olivia's office. The conversation had not been pleasant. The heavy atmosphere seemed to have seeped out through the cracks in the door. When I came out, everyone was holding their breath, wishing they could disappear into the floor. The only one who dared to make a sound was Liam. Furious, he followed me, catching up in a few steps. Ethan, you bastard! Are you happy now? What good did destroying Olivia do for you? He demanded, his voice filled with indignation and a sense of injustice. His voice was just noise to me. Smack. I slapped him across the face. You idiot! If you had any real game, you would have gotten her to divorce me sooner. Then she wouldn't be branded a cheater and a terrible person. I sneered. Harry clutched his face. I reminded him, and another thing. Show some respect when you talk to me. After all, I'm not divorced from Olivia yet. Be careful, or I might just ask her to get back all the money she spent on you. She would never! Given the current situation, you want to test that theory? My specialty was pissing people off without giving them an inch. Liam was furious but speechless, only able to glare at me as I walked away. Without Olivia interfering, my house sold quickly. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but the day the house sale closed was the exact day our divorce waiting period ended. After that confrontation with Olivia, I had expected her to pull some other stunt to avoid the divorce. To my surprise, she actually showed up at the municipal building. We got our divorce certificates without any trouble. Immediately after, I rushed to the house to sign the sales contract. With 2 major things settled so smoothly, my mood finally lifted. But no sooner had I left than the agent called me again. Mr. Evans, this might be unprofessional, but I feel like I should tell you something. What is it? Your wife, your ex-wife, showed up right after you left. She was begging the new owner, the client who just bought my house, to sell it back to her. He refused. Now Olivia was harassing him. Annoyed, I drove back to the house. I arrived just in time to see Olivia snatching something from a cleaner's hands. The new owner was gone. The agent sighed. "Mr. Evans, you're too late. Your ex-wife was willing to pay triple the price to buy it back." Whatever. The house wasn't mine anymore. If one was willing to sell and the other was willing to pay, it was none of my business. But just then, I saw what Olivia had grabbed from the cleaner. It was the wedding portrait we had taken together. "Ethan!" Olivia's eyes lit up when she saw me. "Look, I bought the house back, and I'll find all our old things," she said eagerly, showing it to me. But before she could finish, the car key in my hand was already slicing across the photo behind her. Scrape. I tore my own picture out of the frame. Olivia's eyes widened in shock, her face turning pale. She looked at me with such pain and sorrow that her eyes instantly reddened, and tears streamed down her face. My expression was cold. I saw the reflection of the scene in the glass of the villa's windows, and felt a sudden sense of déjà vu. Of course it was familiar. Once upon a time, I was the one so humbly begging Olivia to come back. And now, what goes around comes around. Karma is a bitch. Don't flatter yourself, Olivia. This act of yours just disgusts me. Can't you just leave me alone? After that day, my life returned to normal. It was lonely being on my own, but pulling myself out of the past was like a thick bank of clouds parting in an instant, revealing a clear sky. Every day was bright and sunny. A week later, I saw Olivia one more time. It was at a bar. After the divorce, she started drinking day and night. Our mutual friend started calling and texting me, trying to get us back together. I blocked every single one of them. Finally, the world was quiet. That chance encounter, Olivia was drinking again. Liam suddenly appeared. "Olivia!" he cried, rushing to support the drunken woman. "I've been looking everywhere for you. Where have you been? I was so scared, you know." Liam's voice choked with sobs. "Don't keep doing this to yourself over that man. He's not worth it. Olivia, let's go home. You still have me?" "Get lost!" Olivia shoved him away forcefully. "He's my husband. He's the only one I want. What am I supposed to do with you, the other man?" I don't know which word set Liam off, but he froze in place, his face a mask of disbelief. That was the last time I ever saw either of them. Later, I heard that Olivia had fired Liam. Not only that, but she also sued to get back every penny she had ever spent on him. Liam, who never expected Olivia to be so ruthless, left town in a bitter rage. 3 months later, I got a call from the police asking me to identify a body. They said a murder had taken place in the villa I used to own. The deceased were my ex-wife and Liam. Olivia had no parents, no family. The only person in the world she had a close connection with was me. Hearing the news, I felt a flicker of surprise and a strange sense of resignation. But in the end, I went and handled her final affairs. Afterward, I scattered her ashes into the mountains and the sea, leaving no trace behind.